Yeah, I don't know if I would say this is like a religious video or philosophical, social commentary, whatever, but it's like, if you really think about it, like the sign of someone who's wrong, like ultimately the sign of somebody who's wrong or even evil, whatever, is they're a hypocrite. Because if you think about it, being wrong isn't always a matter of like you're just dumb or whatever, because kids, they can be doing right even though they don't know a lot. They can still be good and stuff like that. Kids aren't really hypocritical in the sense the way adults are. And with the whole Logan Paul thing, it's like if individuals would have been offended and then posted videos on YouTube, that's fine. That's not hypocritical. But the whole Logan Paul thing is amazing because you have CBS and NBC, you have all the Main Street, the network corporation channels talking about how wrong this was. And it's like they've been showing Jerry Springer for 20 years. They've been showing murder. I mean, they literally show dead bodies every day on TV, and it's like there's movies about suicide. There's movies, what is that movie, 13 Reasons or whatever, the girl who commits suicide, whatever. Like somebody made a series about a girl who committed suicide and how it was okay because if you push somebody too far, you'll kill them. And it's like, here's how people should respond to Logan Paul and things that they think are bad in society. It's like, well, am I a hypocrite? I bet there's a lot of people who are like, "Oh, Logan Paul's so bad," and then that night they go and watch Game of Thrones or The Walking Dead. It's like, I don't think anybody was offended by what Logan Paul did. Honestly, I'm talking like before the mainstream media picked it up. I don't think anybody was offended by what Logan Paul did, even if you had suicide in your family or whatever. Because you watch the video, it might have been kind of cringy, it might have been like distasteful, and it might have been wrong. Because when I was watching it, I was like, okay, you're filming the body. Okay, that's kind of weird. Like, I think it's cool that you're showing us this experience, and it's cool that maybe show the body from far away, and I thought that would have been pretty cool. But it's like when he went and did the close up, it's like, okay, it's not, to me, it's not wrong. It's just, it's distasteful. It's not respectful, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like, and here's the thing is I'm viewing it in context of what's going on in our world. Like, there's movies where women are tortured, and what's that movie? Hostel. I mean, there's women being tortured in Hostel. I mean, there's like, there's movies where kids are traumatized. I mean, the whole purpose of Stranger Things, the whole thing of that is pretty crazy. But when you can't see that you're a hypocrite, when a corporation can't see how they're hypocrites, it's laughable. I mean, first you just gotta laugh. It's funny because you have Whoopi Goldberg. Instead of people defending Logan Paul, you just have everybody talking about how they're good. I'm better than. And it's like, so that's what makes a situation bad, is you're better than the situation? You know what I'm saying? Like, people were equating themselves, or people were equating how bad the situation was, comparing themselves. Like, well, I wouldn't have done that. And it's like, well, how does that make anything bad in this world? Like, oh, well, I wouldn't do that. Oh, I wouldn't have done that. And like I said, it would have been, that's fine with the individuals who aren't part of the mainstream media, like just people on YouTube, whatever. It would have been funny for people in the mainstream media to say, well, what he did is wrong, and But here's what we do that's a lot worse. Here's how we contribute to society. Mainstream media contributes to suicide. They have they promote pharmaceutical drugs. They promote alcoholism. You know what I'm saying? It's like they advertise beer and they portray beer drinking as fun and it'll make you happy. And it's like, well, that's a lie. Like beer destroys lives, alcohol destroys lives. And that's fine. That's fine that the mainstream media does bad things and promotes violence and death and suicide. It's just that they're not honest about it. They don't say, well, really, we're just a death cult. Really, we just promote death and violence. It's funny because they do. Like, think about it, like mainstream entertainment, people who make movies. It's like this huge worldwide death cult. And they can't admit it or something? Like, it's pretty obvious. Like, if you watch even stuff on PBS, Sherlock and Whitechapel, it's like, wow, like there's people, the people at the top of corporations, the people at top of media, man, in their minds, like all they can think about is death. I mean, sex too, but I mean, sex isn't really, you can't really show sex on mainstream TV because of kids and stuff, but you can show violence, I guess. You can show dead bodies, and you can have the focus of the show be death. And it's like, what's going on in the minds of people? What's going on in the minds of creators? And why isn't there any originality in corporate media? Like, it's like, wouldn't it be funny if like the head of CBS or somebody said, all right, you know what, for 2018 or for this year, 2019 or whatever, we're not taking any shows that deal with death. We're not going to have any police shows. We're not going to have any shows that you solve murders. It's like, come on, people. Like, we're going to have entertaining shows. It has to be a comedy, or it has to be about good stuff, good messages and goodness and good families, and maybe about, it could be about like people becoming friends somehow, people helping or something, something funny. It's like, would the world just stop if there was like a year with no violence? Like, it's like, would the wheels fall off? I mean, you got to have Dexter, you got to have a guy killing other people. You got to have Game of Thrones. You have to have death and people being traumatized. We just can't have a break. We gotta have it. We gotta have it every day of every year for the next how long? I mean, is this just gonna go on forever, where we're just obsessed with death? Society, mainstream society, it's sad, man. It's just funny. Oh, I wonder why my marriage is falling apart. I wonder why I'm depressed. It's like, well, how many hours of crappy TV have you watched? How much violence have you seen? And it's even worse for people who like horror movies, It's like, you can't watch people being tortured and not have a negative impact on your life. So, never mind the fact that a lot of people have claimed on Logan Paul's videos that he has helped them with their depression. It, that's a point that I don't know if any of the mainstream media brought up.